SCV.
like,
So now since I have pretty good map control right now, he hasn't been roaming around the map because I've been containing him with those mutas. And he has a delayed expansion, so he doesn't have too many forces. So I'm going to be able to do a good surround, so as he pushes out, I'll be able to decide whether I can engage or not. If not, I can delay his push until I have more units. And right now I have about 4 lurkers, 3 more lurkers just about to finish. And so once he pushes out, I can see if I want to do anything. Right now I send a Zergling in to scout, and what I like to do, I like to scout with that Zergling to see if I can just run into his natural and attack. But if he's got tanks and he's got a lot of marines, medics, and bunkers or anything like that, you'll know just not to attack. Usually a good Terran will have enough defense so that if you attack, you'll lose a lot of your army. So I looked at his base, I saw that it was pretty well defended, so I decided not to attack and just wait for him to come out.
He doesn't even remember that I'm a Protoss.
So my hive is now about 75% complete,
Which is good.
and I should actually add another hatchery at this point to make my macro a little bit better. But in the long run, it's not going to be too bad. You can see I have a little bit of an excess in minerals right now, but once that hive is complete, I'm going to be spending a lot of it. I'm also going to start my 4th base spell right now.
Because I took it out while I was in battle.net because I wanted to install my...
Alright, so I can see he's pushing out right now. I decided to attack. I actually left my Zerglings actually got stuck there because of his SCV coming out. But you can see this was a pretty good attack. I got kind of lucky. I was able to take out a bunch of Marines without losing almost anything. I lost just a couple of Zergling. So it was overall a pretty good attack for me. And I did get a little bit lucky, but it was just an attack that was able to help me keep my map control. So now I've got some Scourge out. I'll be able to use those to take out science vessels, and I placed a couple which will help me defend against a drop, which later helped me in the game to defend against a drop. And right now I'm just continually burrowing my lurkers, so his tanks are going to have to continually re-siege and everything, and that'll delay his push until I have defilers. Actually right now I see he makes a mistake, steps a little bit too close to my marines, or to my lurkers, so I decided to move in and burrow. This attack wasn't as good, but I was able to take out that tank, and so that will delay his push by quite a bit because he can't really engage my lurkers without a tank, since I have quite a few lurkers at this point. I lost track of where his units went at this point, but I think they did go back to his natural, I'm not too sure. And now that my hive is finished, I can start researching drop, which will allow me to get that island expansion, and also I'll be able to drop him with units later in the game. And my 4th expansion is now done. I have a Nidus Canal connected to that expansion as well, so it'll help me defend if he comes in and attacks that expansion. Now I see a drop coming, and I've got 2 Scourge ready here to stop that dropship. Scourge AI is not that good, so you can see they did not manage to get that dropship in time, but I still got most of the forces dead, and I was able to take out that drop force fairly easily. And that's a pretty big investment for a Terran, so it wasn't very, kind of sucks for him that happened. He comes in and irradiates my first Defiler, and I do a pretty bad attack here, because I didn't have all my units ready yet. So I was actually pretty scared at this point. I made a terrible attack right here. But really, he can't really engage me that well without the support of lots of Marines, because I've taken out a majority of his force, even though I did trade too many units for that. And he is going to be forced to retreat. I did have some problems keeping down his vessel count, but usually you just want to just make some Scourge, make sure he doesn't get 15 vessels or something crazy like that, because then it's just impossible to win basically. Gotta make sure he doesn't snipe your Defilers either. So I've got some Defilers now, and that just makes my force exponentially stronger. And made a few more Scourge, got a couple of Ultralists out. They just take that damage from those Marines. And now he's going to be pushing my expansion. So I'm starting to send my troops down. Got about 4 control groups. He sent a couple of vultures to harass, and I am not too aware of his army position right now, so I did lose about a control group of Zerglings needlessly. But I've still got that Defiler, I've still got a bunch of Lurkers, and I can burrow in. Make sure you don't burrow all your Lurkers at the same time, or else you can just run away. You want to burrow the Lurkers that are in front, and then you can burrow the Lurkers in front. You know, you can cut off his troops from escaping by burrowing Lurkers behind him. And so now he's going to try and attack this base, but I've got, 6 Lurkers, I've got a couple Ultralisks, which will eat up a ton of damage here, and so he's going to lose this little force right here.
Yes, indeed.
So right now I'm got a pretty good advantage. He hasn't been able to expand. I've got all of his expansions covered, so it's going to be, the longer this game goes, the more it's going to come into my favor. I've got good upgrades going. I've still got a fairly large force from those last battles, and my Ultralisks, their upgrades are almost complete, and really it's just getting harder and harder for him to do damage to me as I get a bigger force. So a lot of things I see is, even when I was just starting out, I did not go Defilers because I thought they were too hard to control, and I just went straight to Ultralisks. But really, it's not a very good idea because Ultralisks, they need the upgrades in order to be effective, and Defilers are just a lot more beneficial to your game because they come into effect faster than Ultralisks do. So the only way you can get better at Defilers is by working on them and actually using them and applying them in real game. So you want to make sure that if you're just starting out, you still want to use Defilers because they'll help your game immensely. And my Scourge coming in, proving useful right now, taking out, I think in this battle they took out 3 vessels, and my Defiler is going to be able to help me in this attack very well. It wasn't even a very good attack by me, but I just had overwhelming forces for him because of the fact that I've had such a solid advantage ever since my Mutalisk harass and his failed push that I deflected. And now I'm going to be able to take that island expansion.
Oh man, I'm doing bad.
So right now it's almost GG. I've got my drop researched, so I decided, whatever, I don't really want to use these Lurkers anymore. I'll just go sacrifice them, maybe put them in his production line, maybe catch a few SCVs. And it's really annoying for a Terran to deal with Lurkers up his ramp in his production line because Marines just fall apart to Lurkers. So, it probably wasn't going to do anything at all. It's probably going to be more useless than useful to me. But, I have so many Ultralisks and Defilers and Zerglings, like, it doesn't really matter at this point. The game's basically over since he hasn't been able to expand. So now I see he's gotten a command center. Looks like he was getting ready to expand to the mineral only. And he only has about 7 barracks right here. So, he just GG's right here, and that's game.